Duh.
You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juan.
And I'm your other host, Jean Paul Leck.
And together we are
Rope
Road
Break.
Break. And family is June 2nd, 2020, and we're gonna be talking about Monday Night Raw. Jean Paul Leck. Not great, not god awful. Some little things that like right there can be tweaked, and the show will be a little bit more watchable. 3 hours that we had, and I think that the build up for Backlash continues, and some storylines are getting like to the boiling point. We want that, but some others are like, so we don't know.
Yeah, so some of the like you said, some of them are at the boiling point. The other ones you didn't even turn the burner on the
Yes,
stove.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
still
it's not even
completely
ready.
ice cold.
Yes,
Yeah, it's like
yeah. So we're gonna be talking about
and
all of this.
honestly, to be honest, I thought Backlash was gonna be this Sunday. I had it flipped. This Sunday's in your house, and it's like
Yeah.
because the builds are like I don't like when they because to me NXT is pretty much like a third brand. It's not like it's something completely different. So you're having two pay-per-views like a week after each other. I don't like that. It's a little too like confusing, and there's builds, and you're kind of trying to pay attention to all this stuff. But Backlash, I don't know. This show didn't, even though it wasn't the go home, it didn't really make me that much more excited for the pay-per-view, and I don't think next week's really going to do the job either.
No, because especially we've said this before, like the main feud is McIntyre with Bobby Lashley is not really like the focus of the show, or the
Yeah.
WWE Championship is not the focus. Yes, it's in the last segment, but like they like the one thing that like Jean Paul always says, they give it like 5 minutes to just get all this stuff
Yeah.
out. So that's why people are
Yeah,
actually more
and
like,
this feud actually did kind of like it in the beginning because it was like 13 years for your title opportunity, and then they kind of shit on it because I think logically, and McIntyre's like, for me it was 19, and I'm like, I guess IC champ and tag champ don't mean anything, but whatever. So then that was kind of like but the main focus is still the title, so that's cool. Then
yes.
now it's the distraction of Lana to me is like the main focus now. So the whole attention of where the feud should be, which is on the title, is now kind of just like, is it Lana or is it MVP? Who's gonna, help or hurt Lashley win this if he does win it, which he's clearly not going to. So again, the whole main event thing of Monday Night Raw is just kind of.
Yep. So we're gonna be just talking about every single thing. Two shout outs I want to do to Marco, one friend, really legit. Thank you for the support. Dario, same thing. Thank you guys for like supporting the show. They watched the SummerSlam 06. It's like, that's the only time that I actually enjoy wrestling. I don't know why you guys keep reviewing the new stuff. I'm like,
all right. Well, then tell them what do they want us to review? Like Judgment Day,
like they were saying
2006 or something, or.
They were saying something about 04, Chris Benoit days, or like with Shawn Michaels rivalries like that. So it's like you guys should turn into a podcast that just reviews old stuff. I'm like, no, we gotta keep it current as well because we have a lot of people in the family that likes the current stuff. So thank you so very much for everything, for all the love, support to every single one of you. Jean Paul, the show starts with the Monday Night Raw Messiah, Seth freaking Rollins, and he's gonna be addressing like this retirement ceremony for Rey Mysterio. So, like, he's pretty much talking about, like, he comes out and he says, Rey Mysterio is going to be on the show later on tonight, so he can speak with everyone. It'll be difficult for Mysterio, and he won't announce his retirement. Rollins is taking upon himself to do it, or Mysterio because Rey is too humble or modest to come out and call himself, retire. So we get, Jean Paul, a match with Aleister Black with Seth Rollins. An extremely great match.
Yeah, this match to me, like this could have been on Backlash. This could have been like the opening match on Backlash because it was one of those matches. Like it reminded me like of a WrestleMania. They put like Kurt Angle or somebody on first, and it's like, well, show me a really athletic, a really contested match to start things off to get me really like in the wrestling mood. And that's what this show did. The show started off hot, kind of like the AEW NXT. Trend. Let's start the show off hot. Monday Night Raw usually doesn't do that. They usually start off kind of slow and shitty, and that's usually how the whole show goes. But tonight they started off hot, and then it kind of, like we said, the burner was on, and then kind of, and then went away. But this was a good match. I liked the promo beforehand. Everything. They showed the highlight packet from Rey Mysterio. Like I texted you, the day he hangs up the mask is the day that the tears will be running down. So, we don't want to see that happen. But the one thing I do want to point out that's funny is that remember when WWE would be like, Goldberg's going to be here or Ric Flair is going to be here. Tonight they're like, Rey Mysterio is going to be here. it's all through freaking like video calls. So I'm like, I hate when they do that. Like, oh, they're gonna be here, and then it's like, so
Yeah,
I'm just on
like yeah,
Zoom.
I agree with
But
you. I agree with you. Let me get this.
but this match, I mean, this match was just really good. Like, I enjoyed it.
Oh no! Like this match was like extremely great. Like you said, half hour. Like they let these guys, like you said, get your stuff in, and they have chemistry. They keep going. They kept going after pinfalls. So very very good thing. Like at some point, I was like, okay, this is like
Yeah, and I think
I'm used to like
because
brainwashed till I think this needs to be over. And no, they kept
yeah,
going.
exactly. And yeah, matches can actually go longer than 5 minutes on free TV. It's crazy, but I think the right guy won here. There was obviously some screwy shit went down. Humberto eventually came out, with the chair. He's like, swinging at everybody, and they're like, what the hell's going on? But Aleister Black, I think, what was it, a roll-up?
It was a roll
I
up.
think,
It was
I think it was just a roll-up, that he got him. But, just like you said, lots of really close near falls, pin attempts. Nobody could hit their finisher, which I like. We didn't see the stomp, I don't think. Not until the end.
We didn't see Black Mass. We didn't see any of that. There were attempts, but both of them countered each other.
Yeah,
so
the stomps all came after the match when the baby faces got beat down. But, like, really good, first half an hour, 40 minutes of the show.
Absolutely. Like, that's how, like, you should start a Monday Night Raw. Like, supposedly,
and imagine
like,
if the show, imagine if the show was only 2 hours.
Oh,
that
would be so
great. Legit. It would have been the first hour is almost over, and it was good stuff.
We would have been like you always say like they should take out that hour, make it like maybe like Raw Talk because Raw Talk is bad, guys. For the ones that don't know, because why? There's a free version of the WWE Network, no credit card needed, so they have a lot of available content for you. And it's not everything, but like there's a lot of titles. There's a lot of matches.
Yeah, they actually have, and I don't know how recent, but they actually had Raw, SmackDown, and NXT all listed on the free version. Now it could be like a month or two old. It might not be that recent of episodes, but it's still something.
Yeah, it is something for the people that don't want to engage with that. But like you see the state of WWE, Jean Paul, they have to even give it for free.
Well, they were actually talking about that months ago. So that I won't. I mean, maybe maybe they're offering more than they were going to when they originally thought of the free concept months ago. That I don't know. I don't remember. Or if I don't even know if it said what they were all going to offer for free. But like you said,
I didn't know that.
To me, they always seem desperate when it's like sign up now and you get a month for free, and they always promoted it at pay-per-views. Because I'm like, people can just make unlimited amounts of emails, right? They can just make a new email every month and just sign up for it.
Yeah, no, it's
or they could just, it's like, oh, I just want to watch the Big Four. Let me just sign up for 4 times a year, and then that's done.
I have example many friends that they go like the WWE is free for the first month, right? And the network, and I'm like, yeah, okay. you know that they're going to do that. They're going to create an account. They're going to get that month, and then that.
Yep, they're going to watch SummerSlam, watch the Royal Rumble, and then click.
Well,
done.
That like the network has never been a complete success. Maybe when it first started 6 years ago, it was somewhat a success. But like right now, hardcore fans like we are, we keep that thing going. But like you said, Jean Paul, nice ways to start the show. These two, like you said, a few stomps. The heels get like the upper hand in this situation. But like we're going to move on to Charlie Caruso's interview in Selena Vega and Angel Garza. Angel Garza, absolutely. This is my favorite part of the show. She has about last week when Garza attacked Kevin Owens before the match. Garza says that like he did that because it was necessary, because all in fair, everything is fair in love and war. So he's looking at Charlie when he says that. And Vega says he was triumphant, and look what happened. He ended up beating Kevin Owens. So Garza gives Charlie a rose, but Vega rips it up. So that was pretty cool. Like you said, like the one thing that makes Garza stand out is just the fact that he can play his Latino aspect, he can play his machismo, he can play the seductive act, the Latino heat, Latin lover thing, but also his English is way better than Almas.
And see that's the thing with Almas is they have Almas, and to me when I look at him, you just look at his face, you look at his demeanor, he's just so intense and angry. I mean, you see how he hits that back elbow. To me, that just describes him. Just hard hitting, just brutal. He should be extremely just intimidating. Garza can be the Latin lover, oh hey, all's fair in love and war. And then that's when Andrade should be what the hell's your deal? Focus, get your head in the game, blah blah blah. And then he can be what do you mean, get my head in the game? I'm not the one who lost the U.S. title. and then start a little feud. That's what you want to see. I want to see these two guys go at it. I'm sick of seeing them being like the shithead heel team that's got to run in on every match and be like, ha ha ha, we screwed you over. Then next week or later on in the show, what happens? You know what I mean? It's tag match, and then it's like, yeah, they might win, they might lose, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they're still not going anywhere.
You're right.
Both two guys who are extremely talented, who should be the top of your mid card or in your main event scene moving up.
No, yeah, I just feel that like Almas, like if he will improve his English a little better, his character will be a lot over, and that like Garza, like just like that. But like I agree with you, these guys need to be doing something. Important.
Yeah, but to your point though, I mean, Angel Garza, he just like exudes charisma.
Yeah,
like he can get over with his in-ring work. He can get over with, even though his English is a little limited and his accent is sometimes a little thick depending what he's saying. But I mean, you still know what he's saying. It's not like you're like, huh? It's not like what?
You don't become Steve Austin. Yeah,
it's not that bullshit. It's like, he's good, and that's why, again, like I said, I wish Andrade. No offense to Apollo Crews, I wish Andrade was still the U.S. champ because this is the feud I want to see.
Oh yeah,
and then that belt goes to Garza.
It will be more interesting than what it is right now. But that's what we got. Jean Paul, we get like the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. He's gonna be sharing his news. He's gonna be talking about like the greatest match ever. Of course, they gotta get all the legends and this one I like. I love Shawn Michaels, but like you can tell that at some points he's like a little cocky. He's like, oh yeah, I got legit matches like here. Well, he's like, okay, every time that I have a match.
Oh, funny story to not go too off topic. I'm gonna run through it real quick. The ladder match. Bret Hart actually gave that idea to Vince McMahon, and he wanted him and Shawn to do the ladder match. And they were like, so blah, blah, blah. No, I lie. He wanted him and Owen to do it instead of the steel cage match. Shawn was like, no, this is legit. And he stole it for him and Razor.
See, there you go. See, like, that's what I mean. Like, so that's
that great match that he had really shouldn't have used.
And there's many people that actually hate that ladder match because even Ric Flair said like that Shawn had 2 matches that night because he fought the ladder and he fought Razor Ramon. So saying that's how great Shawn Michaels is. He is. I just don't like a little bit of cockiness, but he pretty much gave the edge to Edge because of course Ric Flair says Randy Orton, he has to say it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's why again I didn't like it. And the way I gotta applaud AEW when I think it was the Jake Hager, John Moxley. Yeah. When I don't like how they interviewed like 30,000 fucking people, but have 3, 4, 5 people. Boom. Who do you guys think? Or present it like ESPN does, where you have like the 8 screens and it's like, all right, guys, who's your pick?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going with Edge. It's like, oh, I got to go with Randy Orton, the legend killer, 14, 13 time, whatever the hell he is, world champ. How do you not pick him? Have the guys go rapid fire. Don't just have, oh, yeah, Ric Flair's clearly going to pick his Evolution guy, and Shawn Michaels has really no correlation with either of these two guys, so he's going to just pick the opposite one Rick picked. So the fans are like, oh, it's 1-1. Who's going to win in the greatest wrestling match ever?
Yeah, exactly. So like they make it like the concept, like you said, ever since the kid came out, is a big title for something that is not going to be as big. So that's
and this is one of the matches that they have the burner turned up to max to try to promote, and it's like you can put this on medium, you can let this thing just simmer, and we'll enjoy it a lot more.
It will be better, yeah, because like you said, like when you put that kind of title, you're already like putting too much pressure on these two guys. So, Jean Paul, let's go to like another promo from MVP. MVP is talking to Lana, and then pretty much like he's like, "Why do you do this to my husband? You're still trying to take him away from me." And then MVP goes like, "Well, remember, like I'm going to have a match with the WWE champion Drew McIntyre. So can I go prepare for that match?" It's like, whatever you gotta say, save it. I'm not in the mood to hear it. So then she pretty much says that you're the one that like is trying to like damage everything, and it's like, well, don't you want to like you want to relive your career? You want to make your career meaningful with Lashley, and it's like, oh well, wouldn't that make us too? And then
which was a legit line. I did.
It was. And then she's laughing.
This is one of the segments that, again, when we talked earlier, for all could just be 2 hours. This was one of the segments you can just slice that out of there. I mean, it kind of helped further the main event and kind of further the main event, storyline for the main, the WWE Championship. But Lana, they need to be done with her after this storyline. She needs to be away from Lashley, just off TV, release her, let her be with her, released husband.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they need to just like do to something else. Yeah, like Lana, I don't know, I don't know what you do with her, but like even her role that she has right now is not even important anymore. But that's what we got. And Jean Paul, we go to like Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews is going to be defending the United States Championship for like an unknown contender. So he comes out, and of course Kayla in this situation, or I think it was, she's the one that like I was asking, how do you feel? And it's, hey, I feel legit. I even don't have words for what's going on, but I'm going to pick my number one contender, and I'm going to give a shot to a man that I clearly know he deserves it, and it's going to be Kevin Owens. So Kevin Owens comes out, and he's still kind of limping, just a little bit, about the situation that happened with Garza last week. And then he goes, well, thank you. I've been United States champion. I have all this goal, but I don't know if I really want it. It's like, because it's like, well, I know I'm going to beat you. It's like,
and he actually, I don't know if you picked that up. He actually took a shot at WWE because he was like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like you said, at first he was like, no, Apollo, like, I'm good. It's legit. I don't need it. And then he's like, oh, you deserve this title opportunity. He's like, everything that I've done, in the last 5 years, he's like, I know I deserve more title opportunities than WWE gives me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he actually took a little shot. I might not have been saying it word for word how he said it, but that's essentially what he said. Yeah, so it's like he took that little jab like, hey, I'm legit. This is the one thing I'll say, though. I saw a lot of people say this online. Kevin Owens' weight fluctuated. And you shouldn't judge somebody. You should judge it by their skill. But Vince McMahon, he makes all the decisions. If he tells you lose weight, you get on the treadmill. That's just how it works in W. You know what I mean? So I think that had something to do with some of his pushes. Now I feel he looks the thinnest he's really ever looked. So I think he looks good, and I think, the pushes are going to come for him. This was a good match. I liked it. And I do like that cocky line where he's like, well, I'm going to beat you. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, it's like, I'm going to make your title reign one of the shortest of all time. Yeah. So they went at it.
Which at part of me thought, hey, maybe. But I'm like, nah, they wouldn't do that babyface. And then I got to thinking when I'm watching this, I'm like, no. Like I said, you could smell it. It was like, no, here come Garza. Here they come. And then what happens?
They did. They came out. Garza, Andrade, Selena, they came out. And of course, in typical WWE fashion, they make this. Let's get the baby faces together. Let's get the heels together. What do we get? Tag match. So we end up getting a freaking tag match. And, like, in the situation of the tag match, of course, they had like a few minutes left for their segment. Mm-hmm. So in the end, Kevin Owens and Apollo Crews win. Powerbomb on Almas and done.
And this is honestly how I would do it. Is, if you're gonna do it, this tag match, make the show 2 hours, like we said. This is the third time. Hopefully, I don't have to mention it again in this episode.
Honestly,
make the show 2 hours. Yeah, exactly. Make the show 2 hours. And then this match, you book it for next week. Not saying it's the most exciting thing, but then you know what you're kind of going to see next week, a week in advance. Oh, okay, these guys are pissed off. Because if you get beat down by the heels and you were wrestling in a match, you're just going to be fresh all of a sudden to be like, oh, let's go in a tag match, even though we were just beating the hell out of each other. Now we're tag partners and we get the win.
Exactly.
Because again, now you're making the heels look more like losers. Like, you guys were fresh from the back. You guys should have been ready to go. You jump these guys and then you lose. Yep. It's like, okay.
Not cool at all, but that's what they did.
Yeah, but I mean, to find some good in it, I mean, Kevin Owens still looks good. The United States champion still looks good. So, I mean, hey.
They got to do it at the expense of somebody, right? And
someone has to lose at the end of the day, I guess.
And it had to be Almas, because Almas even takes the pin, so you can tell.
Like I said, he's done.
In the ladder, they have preference for Garza rather than Almas. And why? Because, again, I'm telling you, his English needs to improve. If he needs to do something in the pandemic, he should be talking to Ric Flair and Charlotte. Like for hours, practicing that English. Hey,
what does everybody do? What does everybody do all the time? On their phone, there's so many apps you can download.
Rosetta Stone, like you said, because that way he's gonna end up, cutting better promos. I mean, he's still gonna need Vega, but at the same time, he's like, okay,
because I like both their styles. Their styles are a little different, but I like Andrade a little more because I always love stiff. I like the stiff, hard hitting, more. So, and that's why I like Andrade a little more. But like you said, he's never going to get over like Garza as long as his English is the way it is.
Yes, and that's the
Unfortunately,
thing that is holding him back.
at least in WWE.
Yes, exactly. That's the one thing that is holding him back. So we go to like a thing that he's holding us back because we're not really interested in this. Is like our tag team, contenders. Like let's say like the tag team matchup for the titles.
The only two tag teams that are left on Monday Night Raw, because there was Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, but I don't know where the hell they got lost.
They're the ones and onlys, but right now, like they had to, like they keep like doing this rivalry through like other type of sports, and this time was the time for bowling. So another contest on this. Funny stuff. The one thing I kind of laugh about when he went to the cooler, he got the turkey leg, and she's like, no.
I love how like everybody loves. I think it's Ivar.
Ivar.
But I mean, it's the same chick from all the skits. She just plays different roles.
Yes,
but she like totally has the hots for him. And then Eric is just like, like he's skinnier, like whatever. He's like, you could, maybe you would think he'd be the one that they'd find more attractive. They're just like
no. Ivar. Yep.
And they even did something
like you said, like she goes, oh, you're cute, and then she goes, you're not so cute.
Yeah, it's like no. And then they even did something with this on Raw Talk. They had them out because, like, I mean, the bowling segment, we can really go into detail, or we can just say that it was the same old shit. It was entertaining.
It was the same old shit.
It was entertaining if you're maybe a child, but like if you watch it and you're like, oh, these two teams are legit, and you want to see them actually wrestle, and now this is the third week. And spoiler alert for those who didn't watch Raw Talk, there's going to be a triathlon or something next week. So there we go. We got another thing because they keep arguing that it's tied. So there needs to be a tiebreaker. So it's going to be a bunch of different sports and activities, and whoever wins, I guess the majority of them, whether it's 3 out of the 4 or, 3 out of 5 or whatever, that's who's going to be.
That's who's going to win it. Yeah, but in this time, I think it was the Viking Raiders that won, or it was the Street Profits. I didn't even see.
It was the Viking Raiders because the Street Profits were getting their ass kicked. They couldn't bowl. Then all of a sudden, we
won the smoke.
Never happens. And then the lights hit, and then their theme song was playing, so they were getting hulked up. So then they were bowling, and then they were ahead. But then the Viking Raiders had one more, so then they won. It was like 300 to 301. 300. That looks pretty similar to somebody else's number. I think I see down there. So
hopefully it's getting there. It's getting there. So let's keep our fingers crossed. And talking about the Cross, we're going to talk about Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss and the Iconics. Supposedly, like they were having a match. It was going to be Billie Kay against Nikki Cross, but like their theme song is playing. Nobody comes out. Why? Because they were arguing in backstage. So like that was kind of like a big thing right there. But the match was like really quick, and it ended up giving Billie Kay the win. I mean, of course, Nikki Cross, she's like the best wrestler out of Alexa and Nikki. And
she's the best wrestler out of the 4 of these women in
probably,
this.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I forgot that like the other 2 are the Iconics, But like, of course, like Billie Kay. The one thing is like a lot of people might find that annoying about her, about all the yelling.
Oh, to me that's legit heel heat because it's like
okay, yeah.
To me, it's the heel heat. She's so annoying that when she gets, Nikki hits that swinging neck breaker, or even someone like me who's not the biggest Alexa Bliss fan, if Billie Kay's and then Alexa Bliss shuts her up and hits a twisted Bliss, I might pop. I might be like, yeah, that's right. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's good.
That's how you get people over.
Yeah, pretty much. And Cross fights out, but Kay hits the backbreaker and poses. Then Kay argues with the referee, and Cross hits a running forearm. Cross hits the corner splash. Then she dives off the ropes, but nobody's home. Kay hits the sit out Urinax and gets the win. Like pretty quickly. I like the one thing is like I don't know what they're doing with the tag championship.
Yeah, I think they're just continuing. I don't think they do either. That's the problem. I don't think they do either. So they're just continuing this feud, and it's like, well, the tag champs, they won. They're still the champs. So how can we have this feud continue? Well, we're gonna have Nikki Cross lose. So don't be surprised if Alexa Bliss beats Peyton Royce, because Peyton Royce was the one who kind of, cost them the championships in the first place. Then if Peyton Royce loses after Billie Kay wins, then it can be some more animosity between the Iconics. But I don't know if WWE's that smart to think that way, because that would be logical booking from the past previous weeks, but we can only hope.
Yeah, but the one thing is, like, they're going to be defending the titles on Friday, and, against Bayley and Sasha. So that's what I mean. Like, they have two feuds.
If you want to make it really interesting, the Iconics could just show up.
Yeah,
Screw it.
And
they could
they
just show up
the championship to Bayley and Sasha, and that would be
a
good way to protect everybody.
Their storyline heat, people tried to say was shoot heat, but it's a work heat between the Iconics and Bayley and Sasha because they beat them at WrestleMania.
Yeah. So like that will be interesting. That will be interesting, and we'll see where they go with that. So now we go to, like, Drew McIntyre. He's been interviewing backstage like they always do. They always have to interview freaking everybody that is in the show. So, like, he's saying that he's beaten 7 superstars since becoming WWE champion. So MVP can be number 8. And if anyone in the locker room or of the street wants to, like, step up to him, he'll be happy to take them to the Claymore country. Of course, good stuff. But like I said, I don't like how many backstage promos. It's like, this is like very soap opera like. Like, okay, everybody has to have their own, like, thing. And talking about, having their own thing, and Rey Mysterio, Jean Paul. That's the part that, like, Jean Paul was, like, tearing up a little bit. I'm like, we both knew that he was not gonna retire. For the ones that thought that he was gonna retire, absolutely shame on yourselves, because his old storyline. Learn that. That's wrestling 101.
But see, that's the one thing I will say, though, is, like, we know it's storyline, but you almost wish that you could watch the show
without
and think it's like, oh shit, like, is he gonna retire? Is it done? You know what I mean? You wish you could suspend that disbelief, but the way that they present so much stuff, 1 second they're presenting it that it's kayfabe, and then the next minute they're presenting it, they're like, no, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, they bang, they have a kid, it's legit. So then it's like, well, then what the hell's going on? You know what I mean? You're like, you can't have one and then have the other, and then
he did the stomp on her, and then she countered with, the disarmer, and now they're having a kid. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can't, So it's all over the place. So Mysterio, he's not done. Clearly, he's going to get the revenge on Seth Rollins, but it almost seemed like throughout this thing, like Dominic was the one who was more heated than because Rey Mysterio, he's just talking. Son. Yeah, he's just talking, and he has kind of like he's wearing his mask and shit, obviously, but he has a patch over the eye that was, gouged. I don't think it was gouged out, they said, but it was, like, damaged. He's like, I don't know if I'll ever get sight back in my eye, whatever. Really, really, selling the injury. And Dominic then sits down, and he's like, again, like I said, he's more fired up. And then eventually, I think Rey Mysterio, he takes off. Maybe he has to go crap or, like, I don't know, change the gauze in his eye or something. And then Dominic kind of, like, gets really, I forget exactly what he says, but he says something like he's going to come for Seth Rollins, and he's going to, an eye for an eye. I think he said, like, you're the Messiah, right? So scripture calls for an eye for an eye. And it was because, like you said, like, the intensity was more in Dominic rather than Mysterio, because Mysterio's pretty much, I don't know if I can come back. I don't know when I'm going to be back. But, like, I see says, like, you, Seth Rollins, for putting my family through all this stuff, my wife, my son, my girl, my daughter, Aaliyah, everybody, I'm gonna make sure that, like, I come back for my revenge. I don't know when. I don't know if I'm ever gonna do that, because it's like they said, Joe, it's like everybody was asking, all the guys in commentary, they were asking what's going on, and Joe was like, let me be blunt. Like, are you gonna come back, or, like, are you retiring right now? What's going on? It's like, I don't know yet. But see, like, you are hinting an idea that. Because on Raw Talk, Samoa Joe and Charlie Caruso, they were interviewed, like I said earlier, with the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders and that kind of gimmicky bullshit, whatever. We talked about that. But the other thing that was actually worth watching was when they had Seth Rollins on, because they hinted at 2 things. The one thing, a Joe return might happen. Again, I could just be blowing smoke like the Street Profits, but I think Joe's coming back. The second and the main thing is this with Dominic. They talked about Dominic in this interview with him or this, like, video call they did, whatever. And he's like, I think Dominic, he just needs guidance. And, I'd love to be the one who could help him and this and that. So maybe, again, we see him try to tempt Dominic, and maybe that's there. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. That's something you could all play off. And maybe when he does, then Rollins' crew they outnumber the faces, which would be like Humberto, Black, and then Rey, and then it would be the four of them. So then you bring in Joe. So then that would be 4 versus 4. That could be something they do, but we'll see.
It could. I'm not saying it's not a good idea. Mm-hmm. It's something that it will be cool because either if Seth Rollins is going to be mentoring you or Rey Mysterio, whoever is going to be a great mentor.
Yeah, I mean, or they could do the custody battle, the contract part 2. Oh. They could do part 2 with Dominic, even though he's over 18. They could do it.
I will tell all of you, family, that was a bullshit story. Like if they wanted to do something.
Where is Vicky?
Eddie and Rey.
What the fuck?
He's like, oh, it's my kid. And then like, oh, how? Okay, so that means that you at some point had an affair with like Rey Mysterio's wife. Or like, well, it's like his adopted son. Oh my gosh, like it went through like things that like when to me it didn't make
Eddie. Eddie, I love you.
But it was good. It was good. But like, there's a possibility that Dominic could end up being the third disciple of the Messiah, because he's been hinting another addition. So you're right. It could be easily Dominic, and that will be his introduction into the WWE locker room, into the WWE ways, and he doesn't have to fight constantly. Because he'll just be like one of the guys that like he's just used
exactly,
to, like,
and Rollins actually did mention that too. Like he's like, oh, I've seen him work. I've seen him in the ring. He's good. He has that talent. I think I can mentor him. So
and what better way for you to get like knowledge or like what better to improve yourself, to polish yourself, that Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be good for him. So good stuff, Jean Paul. We go to Nia Jax. That's why the tone completely shifts. Because she's under fire and is over this racial situation because she cut a promo and she kind of said something. I don't know. For me, I'm in the Garza town. I'm in the Andrade town. I'm with my bros with like Dominic and Mysterio. So when somebody says something like I don't want to say even poking fun. It's just like, hey, blah 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 blah. I don't take it like to heart. But like with the current situation of the world. She kind of went to like the Japanese, right? She was trying to mock Japanese.
Yeah. I think she pretty much said like, "Oh, Asuka comes out here and she's all like blah 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 Japanese," and it's like, to me, like if you want to say that that's offensive, I'll give you that, but I'm going to say on a scale of 1 to 10, it is a 1.
Yes,
it is the absolute lowest you can be.
Yes,
and to me, she's a heel.
Yes.
She's a heel. Do you know what the heels used to say in the 60s and 70s? And I'm not trying to sound like an old school, whatever, but even in the 80s and 90s.
Kirk Castle, there you go. Shout out to you.
Yeah, but I mean, even in like the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was on Goldust. Lawler cut a promo on him, and he called him, I think, like I'm not going to say it on here, but I don't think he called him, a homosexual. I think he called him something a little worse.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah, so to be saying all this stuff, you know what I mean? Like, they cut these promos, and that's how you got these guys, to get hated.
Yes. Like Jean Paul says.
But nowadays, that kind of way of getting heat doesn't exist. You can't get heat into getting, like, legit heat isn't allowed in WWE because nowadays people don't look at it as it, like, it's like real life. They know it's a work, and they're like, oh, this is just a show, so why would you say that?
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Exactly. And it's like, so it's all just, hey.
They make it even more impossible to get heat from yourself. So, like, and Nia Jax is a master to get heat, get herself, backstage heat. Like, she's the master of the heat. But in this situation, like you said, we're trying to be pretty neutral here, all right, family? And that's the one thing is, like, despite Nia Jax, our likes or dislikes, it was I like how he used the word. It was just a 1 on 10. I just, that was, what is she going to say then? So
but
we go to like a quick promo of, to a quick promo from R-Truth. R-Truth is there, he got the title back because we got Gronkowski. He's trying to do some TikTok in his house. So you see somebody from the back that he has a rake and he's getting like the leaves and everything. So he kind of like rolls Gronkowski for the 1, 2, 3, and he becomes again the 24/7 champion. Does somebody care about this title? No. It's just a biggest joke ever.
And the one thing is like, they were like, oh yeah, Gronkowski, now you can go back to football because the guy who was filming the video was supposed to be a ref and stuff. But like, again, let this out. put this on YouTube, and the 24/7 title should live on YouTube.
Yeah.
It should not be on television, and then you can just make the show a little shorter.
Isn't like WWE 2K make the YouTube title?
Mhm.
That should be, you've seen
Exactly.
it. Like they have a title that even has the YouTube logo in it. It's customized to be YouTube. That should be changed. The name should be the YouTube title. It stays on YouTube. If you care about that title, you watch YouTube. That's all I gotta say on that, Jean Paul. We got to see Kairi Sane going against Nia Jax, and they kept Kairi Sane because like we were talking about this. Do we know if she's babyface or not? But they kept the Kabuki Warriors theme song because I thought that she was gonna be. Nope.
No, that would be. I think you got to go back to the pirate gimmick for that. Which I mean, I would go back to it, but I mean, I like her. I like the Kabuki Warrior outfit that she wears. Those leather pants are pretty good. So, she can
really
keep
nice
wearing.
To watch. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice
but on her parasol, it said something about Hana Kimura on her parasol. Yeah. Somebody had Japanese. I can't read it. Somebody on the internet translated it. I'm gonna believe them. It could have said something completely wrong, but I know she was close. Yeah, so and also this Raw was pre-taped. So it was even closer to the time of her passing. So it makes more sense.
Yes, because this was like I think last week.
Yeah,
last week I think on a Tuesday or something, because that's when we broke the news that like she ended up busting herself open. And this is pretty much the highlight of this match. Is like, Jean Paul, in your eyes, was it Kairi's fault or was it Nia Jax's fault?
I mean, people say like, oh, she threw it when she threw her into the ring steps, Kairi like oversold it and hit her head, but I don't know how you can like oversell something and hit your head when you're supposed to put your hands up and you catch your head. So unless you're thrown with like, I mean, hey, anything could happen. But I'm thinking like you got to be thrown with a lot of force, not expecting it, or thrown from an angle to where maybe you normally put your hands up, but if you're thrown from a different, like at a weird angle, not thrown correctly. It's just, hey, I mean, I look at the facts here. Kairi Sane is a little bit of injury prone. Nia Jax is also injury prone, but the other way, she's prone to injuring people. So that's like you have fire and you have gasoline. Let me just pour it on top. No, we should probably not see these two in the ring again. So,
yeah,
or at least with each other. I mean,
yes, exactly. Like. I feel I just have to agree with you. I'm not going to say anything else because that's how I saw it also. Like, you can tell that she does throw with a lot of force. But, if Kairi knows this, then she kind of should try to protect herself a little more. But like you said, I love the analogy. Injury prone on injuring people. This is like, you just keep enforcing this idea. You like disaster, you keep getting disaster. In the end, Nia Jax doesn't even do the Samoan drop. Because
they said they said because it was a pretty big cut on her head, so then they were like, just end it. I think she did
the best job like with Premiere editing it. So pretty much we just like a leg drop and 1, 2, 3 and done. But then that was what we had. So we have Randy Orton cutting a promo. Of course, Edge had last week his time to cut a promo. This time is the Viper, and he says that he's been watching the Last Ride documentary as well as Ride Along. I don't know why Ride Along was needed. Oh yeah, you need to have the WWE Network. Understood. Chronicle and much more. And the one thing that everyone addresses is that like the Nage, like Pretty Boy will call him, and he didn't think that we know that like the Nage means the Nature Boy, but like we know. So he says that everybody agrees that Ric Flair is the greatest wrestler in the world. And, the legit thing is about that, Jean Paul, is that, well, if Ric Flair said that, like, I'm the best wrestler in the world, then, yeah, I'm the best wrestler in the world. And Edge, you also always say that, like, I've done things half-ass, that I don't put enough intensity. Well, look at me. It's like, if I did this all half-ass, and I still am better than you. I won more.
It's like
I have more championships. I'm the Viper. I main event everywhere I go, Jean Paul. So pretty much that's what he says, and he says that like he's gonna be rewritten this history with an RKO. So what do you think, Jean Paul?
Like I said, the promos are good. If you take away the commentary, the big fucking poster that says greatest wrestling match ever, that's promoted every 5 seconds when these guys are on TV. You take all that fanfare and, trumpet music and all that stuff away. and you just give me the promos from these two guys. This is the most excited match, or this is the match I'm looking forward to the most on the show.
Yeah.
But they hype this all up, and they're going to gimmick the hell out of it, just in the sense where they're not going to just let these guys go out and wrestle. Yeah, they're going to wrestle, but there's going to be something. WWE's going to sprinkle something on it, and it's going to be like, why couldn't you just let these guys actually do what you told us they were going to do, which was just go out and wrestle?
Yes.
But, I think it'll still be good. I don't think that they can, if they do have just a legit wrestling match, I don't think there's a way it can be bad. But you're hyping it up as the greatest wrestling match ever. Is it going to be better than Shawn and Taker? No.
No.
Is it going to be better than, and again, not hyping up Shawn like he was hyping up himself, but is it going to be better than Shawn and Angle? No. You know what I mean? That's like, sorry.
Well, there you go. There goes the plug-in for Shawn, because it seems like every time he comes out, he has a great match. So, Mr. WrestleMania, I know he is, but be humble about it, damn it. You're even fucking Christian. Come on. So Charlotte is another one that likes to be, everything I do is gold, and it's not even Goldust or anything. Charlotte comes out, and she cuts a promo on the NXT guys. It's like, I'm rooting for every single one of you, especially the girls, because at some point I want to face you, and then all of you are going to bow down to the queen. And we're going to be talking about somebody that has a lot of experience, a lot of history of bowing down, and that is Asuka. It's like, hey, Asuka, she gives all her accolades, and then she's like, well, but in the end, who broke the streak? Me.
And I love how it's so funny, because she's saying all this shit, talking and everything, and she mentions how Asuka's a Grand Slam champion. She's like, oh, but who beat her? And I mean, yeah, Charlotte's legit. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, Charlotte, you're not even a Grand Slam champ. Bayley was the first one, and then it was Asuka. Like, what, are you going to be the third? Nobody remembers who the third Grand Slam
I remember, Jean-Paul, is because, Alexa. No, Alexa is not. Oh, my God.
No, she's not. And she never will be, because NXT.
Oh, my God. Okay, keep going.
So good. The legit women have an up on Alexa Bliss for that. But anyway, it's like, she cuts all this stuff, and then Asuka eventually comes out, and, they were going to have a match, so it wasn't just like something that was thrown together. Champion versus champion, WWE loves that. The concept is kind of cool. At Survivor Series, when we got Lesnar and Styles, Bryan, it was cool. Now we see it every week, and it's like, okay, I don't care. What is this, Survivor Series? Is this, whatever? And remember how they said there was that wild card rule? They weren't calling it. They were doing that for 2 weeks now. It's like, we don't do that no more, unless that counts with Charlotte Flair. But they only said 4 times a year. She's been on every show every week, so I think she's on her 8th time. Again,
the WWE's logic is
whose line is it anyway? The points are made up and the rules don't matter, or flip those two, whatever the hell they say on that show. But the one thing I will say, these two women have legit chemistry. You watch them in a match, and I feel like they trust each other. They really lay into each other, and they know, hey, it's going to be good. German suplexes, really strong forearms, getting tossed into the corner. Charlotte got her busted open. She had the blood on her teeth and stuff. We pop when there's color. I thought that was legit, because Asuka really hit her with a potato, man. She laid in there with a kick or something, and then she was bleeding. So it's good stuff. And the ending to the match, I thought was good, because what are you going to have? The Raw Women's Champion lose to Charlotte? You have the NXT Women's Champion lose going into a triple threat match coming up, this Saturday or this Sunday? No. Yeah. So what do you got to do? I'm not like most girls.
Yeah. And then she came out with the Asuka's theme song, and she's like the amazing. And see, that's the kind of stuff that I was okay with Nia Jax. She did a good job.
Yeah, that I was fine with. Yeah. Because it's like, hey, you want to taunt her, you want to do all this stuff, get in her head. That's legit. Yeah. And then, of course, Asuka was. I didn't like the ending with just how fast it all happened, because she did all this stuff. And they rang for the DQ bell before Nia actually even hit her.
Yeah.
Asuka was like, what the hell's going on? Blah, 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 walking towards her. And then Nia comes, and she charges her with a clothesline, but the bell was already rang before she hit her. So it's okay.
That's the part that I was like, okay, what the hell is this? But I did appreciate it that also Nia had the painting.
Mm-hmm.
The green, painting that Asuka wears, so that was cool also. And like you said, that's how you get legit heat. That's how you get in somebody's head, and that's important. See, I out of all the Nia Jax career in WWE, this for me was the highlight.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think anything will beat for me anyway when she broke Becky Lynch's nose, and then because they really could have went in on that angle. Like, she could have been like, oh, blah blah blah, Becky Lynch. She was, your the people's women's champ or whatever, and then like I broke her face, and they kind of play that off for like a couple weeks, and then just everything else that they had that's gold.
They never
they
cashed
let
in
it turn
on that.
to shit.
They never cashed in, but it's good, like you said, because both champions look great, and Nia Jax looks like a strong contender for like Backlash, what it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you do stuff. See, WWE, when they want to do good, they're good. But like they don't want to. That's the thing. They want to just half-ass everything. So Jean Paul talking about half-ass last night's interview backstage, and she says she doesn't know if MVP or Lashley is to blame, but it couldn't be her Bobby. So she then says that she'll be at ringside for MVP's match, which are we going to be talking about right now because it was MVP with Bobby Lashley England against Drew McIntyre. And you know this was quick. Of course, like a few offense on Drew, but in the end, Claymore kick and done. What happens after that, Jean-Paul?
Well, then, of course, you got to see, like, oh, is it just going to be, the champ is like, and as it goes off the air? No, Lashley gets involved, and I liked his old finisher. I mean, this full Nelson choke thing is like, it's cool, but it should be like, that he has two finishers. Like, let him do that for a little bit, and then what did he was it the spine or the spear?
The Dominator. The spear, the Dominator, and now he has the Master's Lock, or like the full Nelson choke.
Yeah, he has the full Nelson lock, or like you said, the Master's Lock. He had the spear, he had the spine buster, he had all these like legit, I mean, spine buster was kind of just a setup, but he had all these legit moves, and it's like, oh, you just hold the guy in this full Nelson lock for like 30 seconds. The show goes off the air with him still in the lock. And that was actually the first thing they mentioned on Raw Talk. They said, "Oh yeah, like as right before we started, we just there was a bunch of officials and doctors and everybody that had to break it up because Lashley was still holding on to him, after the show went off the air."
That's like
they tried to like play it up like it's like this. Oh my god, like it's so crazy, and it's like I mean, okay, they're both big guys, but he's just like swinging him around, and it wasn't like it was just like
that's how Chris Masters got over it until Cena broke it up, and woo, and look where Chris Masters is now. So let's not get like overhyped over that move. So it's true, but Jean Paul in the end, not too bad of a Raw. Pretty watchable. Like I said, the main event, like even you always mention this because this is like the parts. Like if they give you like 5 minutes for the main event, that's when it kind of sucks. It should be like 15, 20, so they can develop some kind of like a decent match, but they don't care about the match. Like I said, like they always walk you through to what they want.
It's because the build is there for Lashley and McIntyre. As soon as McIntyre said to Lashley, "Yeah, you want to have this match? All right, let's do it." The build's over. You can't build it up anymore. The only thing you could we should be seeing Lashley killing job guys, or if you want to have him on TV, that's what it should be. And the main only kind of storyline progression should be between MVP and Lana. As annoying as Lana is, if she's going to play a role in this match, that's where the storyline progression should be. There doesn't need to be more of Drew and Bobby Lashley, clashing. We don't need to see that until the match.
Yes. Yeah, so we'll see what happens next week because that's going to be the go-home show for Backlash. And more assumingly, I think Lashley's going to get another shot at Drew. That's what it will be because, again, Drew's not losing that championship anytime soon. Drew's the main guy. They're trying to push that and that agenda, and I think it's the right agenda this time. It's good. So, family, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so very much for watching every single one of the videos. We'll be back for AEW Dynamite. We're going to make it live. We're going to make it, extremely great for you guys. We're really hoping that the show is really great. A lot of things going on, of course, in the wrestling world also, one guy was supposed to be on AEW Dark, but because of some kind of racy comments, that match had to be removed. So,
And this is the one thing I'll say about that. Who is he going to go against? Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears, dude, the guy can't win.
The guy is is in his fate. He's not even booking anymore. He's not even writing. It's just he's iconic.
It's written by the wrestling gods.
Yeah, it's iconic. So, family, where Jean-Paul, tell everybody where they can find.
Speaking, if you want to speak of iconic, we got a bunch of iconic social media pages for you to follow. Some of them are the original Rope Break, and that is right here on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Boom. click all those. And if you're feeling, extra crazy, you can click on the OG Rope Break on Twitter and follow us there as well.
That's all you gotta do. All the news are right there. We already told you guys who's gonna be the next call up for Monday Night Raw, because we know that the Bro is a SmackDown, but there's gonna be another guy that is gonna be for Monday Night Raw, and they say there's gonna be a little more, Jean Paul. So as soon as we know,
and I was gonna say, feast your eyes on Dominik Dijakovic, the newest Monday Night Raw superstar.
For Monday Night Raw. So as soon as we know another one that is confirmed, we will let you guys know. Of course, firsthand you head on Road Break, like for example, Road Talk right here with Jean Paul. So you guys know everything. So in the name of all of you, thank you so very much. Jean Paul, you and me have one thing. Just one thing that is left to say. Can you help me out saying it?